Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. This is Let's Play Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Matsuribayashi. And this will probably be the final higurashi video. Unless there is suddenly a brand new higurashi game or something released in the latter half of 2025 or 2026 or in the future. By the way, it is September 13th, 2025, 9:50 a.m. America time. The club members were already aware that the Mountain Dogs had been almost totally annihilated. Both the numbers and the strength of the dogs had fallen far below that of the club members. Therefore, when Okanogi saw his opponents lined up there to welcome them, he wasn't surprised. It was all the kids who'd driven the Mountain Dogs to destruction that entire day. They had also fought with everything they had. Though they overwhelmed us from start to finish, they had used up all their stamina and were on their last legs as well. Still, their willpower kept them standing. A will born of the victor's honor, which God granted only to the winners. There she is. It's our Okanogi. Capture her. Major, how can you even say that to us under these circumstances? What? Are you disobeying my order? Oh no, I have no intention of doing that. Okanogi removed his communication unit, his taser, and all the heavy equipment he had been carrying. Then he unbuttoned his shirt and told his men to stay put as he stepped forward. He strode forward about half of the distance toward the club members. I am Okanogi, also known as Phoenix One, of the Mountain Dogs. I'm here to pay my respects to your leader. May I have their name? The club members looked at each other. One of them was a girl taller than the others. She couldn't be that old. But her hawk-like eyes were as sharp as a veteran soldier's. Okanogi didn't know her circumstances, but only those whose lives were threatened on a daily basis had eyes like that. I'm the leader of this club. My name is Mion Sonozaki. The girl stepped forward. How old are you? No, your age doesn't matter. From the turmoil at the police station this morning to this battle on the mountain, were you responsible for it all? The girl didn't answer, but her silence confirmed it more strongly than anything she could have said. You've won this battle. Our princess is the only one who can't understand that. There's nothing else we can do at this point. Tomotaki broke through the blockade. I'm sure he's already called Tokyo. I don't know when the suppression unit will arrive, but it's just a matter of time, I'm sure. If you want to laugh, go right ahead. Okanogi, what are you doing? That's the enemy commander. Take her down. Don't pay any attention to her. What do you want? You are a leader, and so am I. You understand, don't you? Is he surrendering? I can understand. He was in charge of the whole army, and all his men are down, so he can't just nod his head and accept defeat. So the defeated general can only requite himself by sacrificing himself, huh? Fine. Do what you need to satisfy yourself. I appreciate it. Mion took a stance. Okanogi took a stance too. Although Okanogi was nothing like Akasaka, he was still a close combat specialist. Even when exhausted, there was no way Mion could defeat him. Takano thought so too. She thought Mion was underestimating Okanogi, but Mion knew. She knew that she was the only one who could put him at ease. Are you ready? Take this. Huh? Okanogi readied, launched a sharp from his waist, but Mion deflected it to the side of her elbow, wrapped her arm around underneath it, wrenching it back behind him, and forced it up into a hold. Then she twisted his arm up even further. Okanogi was certain she was going to snap a bone. It was an excellent technique. She took his arm in one flowing motion. It was clear that Mion's soft defense techniques weren't spur of the moment. However, she didn't break Okanogi's arm, but instead threw him onto the ground. She didn't deliver the final blow, but rather chose to look down on him. Not bad. Okanogi, what are you doing? Hurry up and subdue her. Shut up. You just shut up and watch. This is a battle between leaders of men. Okanogi got up quickly, took a stance once again, and then swung his arm down. But Mion avoided it effortlessly, and just like she did before, she grabbed his arm and turned it around. They were in the same position as before. And just like what happened then, she didn't break his arm but threw him onto the ground and looked down on him. A rotation throw, huh? The way you move. It's not the Yoshinkan technique, is it? Is it that classy Kobukan one? By the way, when you take your opponent's arm, you can knee him in the face if you want. I see. I'll try that next time. Oh wow, Mion is incredible. She's actually standing toe-to-toe with their commander. Okanogi, use your weapons. What do you think you're doing? Here I come. Ha! He had a stronger drive this time. He tried to kick right through her from a step and a half away. Yet this time, Mion stepped in to launch her own attack, jumping right towards the foot, trying hard to kick her. Mion kept herself low as she entered close range with Okanogi, shutting out his leg and trying to kick her. So of course he went after her head. Okanogi raised his right arm to elbow her in the skull, but this time Mion rose up, using both hands to keep his arm from swinging down. Unlike the flowing motions from earlier, this was simply a contest of strength. His physique was overwhelmingly superior to hers, so she couldn't win that test of strength. But suddenly Mion let go and allowed Okanogi's elbow to come down. Then she stepped to the side. It's another repeat of before. Okanogi's arm was held to his back, and he ended up in the same position. But what came after was different. Okanogi's face lowered as Mion lifted his arm up high, and then she swiftly brought her knee into his face. It was exactly the technique that Okanogi told her about just earlier, and once again, he was down on the ground. That's it. You learn quickly, don't you? You know, strategies, tactics, and combat. You already have everything you need to be an effective commander. You should have been in my position. You should have been the one to lead those shitty mountain dogs. Huh? Sorry, I never want to be a leader of a shady unit like yours, Mion scoffed. Okanogi took it with a smile too. He wasn't trying to be humble, it was just his pure reaction. Haha, you're right. You shouldn't waste your talent on Japanese unconventional warfare units. I bet you could lead in the SAS, Delta, Spetsnaz, whichever you join. You'd be one of their best. In any case. Ha ha ha. SAS? Delta Force? Lame. All of that is just way too boring. Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right. Then tell me, what kind of folks do you want to be CO for? I'm not interested in being in charge of any units at all. Being a leader is fine. A leader. The leader of the British Intelligence Service, huh? That's fitting? No way. Listen, there's only one club I want to lead. That's the club in our Hinamizawa branch school. I'm not interested in games without penalties. The magician of words, Keiichi Mabara, seeker of all things adorable and cute, Harena Ryugu, trap master Satoko, and charming enticer Rika-chan. And last but not least, our newcomer Hanyu Furude. I'll never find anything more fun than playing with them, even if I search this entire world. Oh, you didn't include Shion in that. No wonder we couldn't win. With her as their leader, there was no way we could have won. Oh, Okanogi! Get a hold of yourself! Takano yelled at him, but Okanogi didn't hear her. Are we finished with the warm-up? This next one is for real. You're going to die. Be ready for that. Come on. I'll give you a fitting end. Something you've been waiting for, wanting all this time. Good enough. Here I come. Okanogi took about 5 steps backward and breathed deep. His body twisted as he gathered all his spirit into his right fist, just as he said this next attack would be for real. He was putting everything he had into this one final blow. Mion narrowed her eyes, preparing to parry the blow with her side. The sky began to stir. They both felt raindrops on their foreheads. Is this like the end of a samurai movie? Here I go. I'm gonna kill you. So come get me, okay? Whenever you're done praying, go right ahead. That one tense moment was suddenly brought to an end. Whoa! He dashed forward from a low position, just like a runner from a starting line. Then he added the twist from his body into the blow, as his right arm roared with all his power. A bolt of lightning punctuated that moment in time, burning the moment into our eyes. In that moment, Mion's stance hadn't changed at all, no. Maybe she moved like lightning in the moment it struck. We had to recall the moment burned into our eyes to review the scene. Okanogi had swung with his right fist, which had enough power to shatter Mion's bones. So what if 100% of his power was directed at him in a counterattack? When the lightning struck, Okanogi's body went flying through the air. It was a legendary technique in Japanese martial arts, passed down in judo and aikido, the air throw. It looks as if one is being thrown without his opponent even touching him. A miraculous technique that occurs at lightning speed. Of all the techniques Mion possessed, it was the most sublime, advanced technique she could administer on the defeated General Okanogi. The feeling of freedom while flying in the air is more memorable than the impact of hitting the ground, supposedly. When Okanogi hit the ground behind Mion, a heavy rain suddenly began to fall, and just as it did, a massive helicopter appeared from the other side of the mountain. The helicopter's rotors stirred up the air and blew away the raindrops like in a tornado. The rotors sounded much like a tornado, too. A rope uncoiled from the rear of the helicopter, and soldiers came sliding down it, one after another. The onlookers were stunned for a moment before realizing what they were seeing. It was the bloodhounds. The bloodhounds that Tomataki had called in. Having realized how bad the situation had become, Okanogi returned to the other members of the Mountain Dogs. Nothing was going their way anymore. The Mountain Dogs ran down the slope and disappeared into the woods. They dragged Takano with them, who couldn't understand what was going on. A voice echoed from a speaker attached to another helicopter circling around the mountain. To all staff of the Erie Institute, today at 12:30 p.m., The Institute's independent authority was frozen, and is now under the control of the Bloodhounds. As of the same moment, HQ has ordered complete disarmament of all Erie Institute staff. All mountain dogs are to disarm themselves immediately and gather at the parking lot of the Erie Clinic or at the storage shack at the top of the mountain. Failure to respond accordingly will result in discipline under not only civilian law, but under self-defense force rules as well. Bloodhound members continued to slide down the rope from the helicopter. Even at a glance, they were very different from the mountain dogs. They were armed more heavily, and the guns they had were much larger. Such things clearly differentiated the two units. Does this mean that we have won? I don't know. I've never seen this before, so I don't know. I never got this far before. If we really did. Satoko and Rika sat down and hugged each other. They were both soaked in the rain, but they still sat down in the mud. Mion stood solemnly in the rain as the leader of the winning team. The mountain dogs had abandoned the field. They all ran away with their tails between their legs. Keiichi and Rana ran over to Mion. Mion. Mi-chan. It's over. Yeah, our club activity is over. Rika-chan is safe. Everyone else is safe. Mi-chan, it's our victory. You led us this far, Mion. It's all thanks to you. But Mion didn't seem to be listening to Keiichi and Rena. Instead, she mumbled to herself. I like punishments. Eh? Club activities can be cruel, huh? We fight to decide who's the loser. So that means everyone looks down on whoever does lose, right? We don't look down on anyone. We just do the punishment and that's it. Yeah. We do the punishment and that's it. We all enjoy laughing at the loser and then forget about it. That's why I like what we do. We all laugh, including the one who came in last. Nobody gets hurt. We all laugh and then we're done with it. That Okanogi guy thought he couldn't purify his sins unless he was defeated by me. I mean, sure, it got pretty serious. We were almost killed, too. But it's all over, right? The game is over. And even though it is, there is no punishment for the mountain dogs. Mia might have realized something when she threw Okanogi. Keiichi didn't think anybody else could understand that. I don't know what you're trying to say, Mion. Forget about him. It's all over for them anyway. Yeah, you're right. Everything is all over now. We're all alive. Nobody got seriously hurt. So, let's enjoy our happy ending. That's right. Nobody got hurt. It really is a happy ending. While they hadn't yet confirmed Shion Kasai's safety, they were correct. This was the happy ending that they had all been fighting for. However, Mion was still thinking. She only understood the reason for that in the moment the thunder struck. But as soon as the flash of the lightning disappeared, her understanding vanished as well. All she could remember was that she noticed something very important, and that very shortly after she completely forgot about it. She could only feel a great sense of loss. The Bloodhounds soon surrounded the club members. At first they thought the club members were their enemies, but when Toмотaki appeared, he explained the whole situation. The commander of the Bloodhounds appeared to beg the club members not to say a word about anything as it was a politically sensitive incident. It was amusing to see a man like that beg while carrying all those weapons. Of course, they had no intention of talking to anyone about it. Once it had ended, it all felt like a bad dream. If, on the following day, someone asked them what they had been doing, they might not even remember it. This day was that unrealistic for them. So even if they were asked, they wouldn't say a word. Rika-chan! I'm glad you are safe. Akasaka! I'm glad you're safe too. Meep, meep, meep. It all worked out great too. Are you alright? Are you all alright? The clinic has been occupied by the watchdogs. The mountain dogs are all surrendering too. Dr. Eri and a boy he was hiding with have been put under the Bloodhound's protection as well. Coach is safe too, is he? I'm very glad about that. Wait, a boy? I do wonder who that could be. Perhaps Tomita-san or Okumura-san were injured? Satoko, I'm very happy for you. Rika's smile made it clear on what she had gone through. Someone could only smile like that after a long and exhausting struggle. Satoko had no idea what that smile meant, how much time would be needed to make her understand. Still, Eri will do something about it. For certain, he will bring Satoko's needy back home. That's right, Satoko. You haven't taken your shot today, have you? You can't forget about that. Quite true. How troublesome that I can't forget about the shot, even in this situation. Satoko seemed to have no idea that her medication was connected to the syndrome. Perhaps she was already aware, but pretended not to be. Rika vowed to herself that no matter how long it took, she was going to witness with her own eyes the moment her best friend finally parted with her tragic past. At least I only need to take the shot twice a day. It was 3 times a day for the previous one. Satoko also had no idea that Satoshi was involved in the development of her medication. Eri had said that Satoshi, as a specimen, had contributed much to Satoko's treatment. Even while asleep, Satoshi longed to ease the burden on Satoko, and those feelings must have influenced Satoko's medicine somehow. Satoko had to inject herself in the stomach. For privacy, she ran into the grove of trees to give herself a shot. There was no danger in her doing so. One after another, the bloodhounds dropped down from the helicopters. Each helicopter must have carried at least 20 to 30 soldiers. There was 1 helicopter at the top of the mountain, and 2 more halfway down the slope. Troops were pouring down from all of them, leading to the impression that the entire mountain was under the bloodhounds' control. Nobody fired their weapons even once. The mountain dogs had no choice but to surrender. It was raining hard. It wasn't raining hard at all. The sky should be clear up after 20 or 30 minutes. It was the volatile weather typical of early summer. Satoko soon returned. And spoke to her best friend. Rika, I haven't seen Hanyu-san around. She was here a moment ago. Huh? Hanyu? Hanyu, where are you? It was stupid of me to think that Tokyo had sent more support. They're acting as if they'd known of their loss for a while now. I was the only one who didn't know. What's going on? Tell me this minute, Okanogi. This is it. They're the Bloodhounds. Tomitaki called them in. The Bloodhounds? I've heard the name before, but aren't they similar to the Mountain Dogs? Why aren't you fighting back? You've got to be kidding me. We Mountain Dogs are simply a counterintelligence unit. On the other hand, the Bloodhounds are a real combat battalion. There's no way we could defeat them. The remaining 3 members looked at me in exhaustion. Why are they here in the first place? We captured Tomitaki. Are there more spies? Who are they? Major, the clinic was attacked earlier. Haven't you heard the First Lieutenant Tomitaki escaped? One of the 3 spoke up timidly, but Okanogi signaled to him to shut up. Nobody told me this. When did that happen? What's going on, Okanogi? Wasn't there a blockade exactly so that they couldn't escape the village? They aren't even responding to me anymore. I've been left behind. I'm the only one who didn't know. I'm being left out. The members looked at Okanogi waiting for his command. Nobody is waiting for my order. Nobody even cares about my orders. Commander, there's a radio call from the command vehicle. One of the members handed the intercom to Okanogi. This is Phoenix 1. Commander, final orders from Cuckoo. Execute Cuckoo. coup. Roger that. The bloodhounds have us surrounded. We're being advised to surrender. What should we do? Command vehicle. No. Ota and Adachi. Good work. You're cleared to surrender. Disarm yourselves and follow the orders of the bloodhounds. Roger that, Commander. All units, listen up. The command vehicle has been compromised. The clinic is probably in enemy hands as well. We've lost all our backup as well as equipment. All teams have been wiped out. I'm sure everyone is disarming themselves. The Mountain Dogs have been completely defeated. Not yet. Get in touch with Nomura-san in Tokyo. The Bloodhounds, so what? She'll send in units so we can beat them up immediately. R is still alive. We can activate the final operation. I must let Nomura-san know that. We have to restore the communications with Tokyo. We really shouldn't have cut the telephone connections, but we did. So we'll have to recover the command vehicle. We'll get in touch with Tokyo on the radio. Fortunately, the men in the command vehicle surrendered without resistance, so I'm sure the Bloodhound's guard is down. Okanogi, you and the other three will be enough. It's still the 19th of June. The operation starts on the 21st? Or is it supposed to be the 22nd? We still have time. We'll manage, Okanogi. Go recover the command vehicle immediately. Well, why can't you follow my orders? I'm a major. I'm your superior. Why are you listening to Okanogi but not me? Major, didn't you hear what the helicopter said earlier? We've lost. There is absolutely nothing we can do anymore. What are you saying, Okanogi? Are you already giving up? You saw that R is alive, didn't you? What happened today was all because of the rumor that R was dead. But she's alive. That means today didn't happen. We can still use the emergency manual. As long as the Queen Carrier is alive, all we have to do is kill her. Then we'll have the 48 hours to execute the manual. Major, it's far beyond that point already. Tokyo doesn't care about the Queen Carrier or the 48 hours after death. Our final operation is a complete failure. Our clients must be running around desperately trying to destroy evidence. Our job here is done. I commanded the Mountain Dogs for about 10 years. It was a valuable experience. But it's all over today. And Major, your job is over too. What? What do you mean my job is over? What are you talking about? Major, your job was to rear that scrapbook in your hands. What are you talking about? I didn't expect Okanogi to start talking about my grandfather's scrapbook. I don't doubt there is a disease called Hinamizawa syndrome. Hinamizawa syndrome. But the whole village is going into a panic. 48 hours after the queen dies, no one's ever seen that happen. No one knows if that's true or not. Don't be ridiculous. Look here, it's somewhere in here. But where? I know it's in here. From the studies, there's some appearance that explains that. The statistics say. Damn it, where is it? Ooh. I flipped through the pages in the scrapbook in a panic. I can't even remember which page I'm looking for. Okanogi slapped the scrapbook aside and it thudded. No, it landed in a muddy puddle, so it splashed onto the ground. The open pages of the scrapbook were face down in the muddy water, and already turning color as they soaked up the mud. Well, what are you doing? This is the most important. As I crouched down to pick up the scrapbook, Okanogi stepped on it. The splash of muddy water hit me in the face. I had to witness my precious scrapbook being stepped on and covered in filth. Major, I don't really care if what's in this scrapbook is true or false. As a matter of fact, nobody does. What? Do you mean by that? I tried to get to the scrapbook from under Okanogi's foot, but I couldn't pull it out. The clients in Tokyo merely wanted to see how many people would actually believe what's in the scrapbook. They didn't even care if it was truth or lies, as long as it was believable. They didn't care? No, they didn't. They just wanted some famous doctors to research the subject and come up with a report full of difficult terminology so they could deceive people. That was your job. No, this isn't a lie. My grandfather and I researched it for so many years. Come on, move your foot. The scrapbook is getting soaked, though. I'm trying my best so that it's not ruined, but it's no use. Here's the thing. If this meant so much to you, and you cared so much about it, you had it for so long, you would have had plenty of time to physically write out a copy of every single detail, even to things that seem innocuous. Hell, photocopiers exist in 1980s. The queen dies and the village must be killed. All you had to do was convince the higher-ups of that crazy story. Nobody cared about parasites to begin with. They only cared if it could be used for political gain. You knew that, didn't you? And at this point, nobody will ever pay attention to any of that nonsense again. A lot of people bet on this scrapbook, and they lost. The mountain dogs lost too. That's all there is to it. This isn't nonsense. This scrapbook holds the truth. Everything in it is the truth. My grandpa researched it. I researched it. And this is the result. Everyone believed in it. That's why they built such a beautiful research center, isn't it? They believed in it. And that was why Nomura-san got in touch with me. There must be other people who will believe my work, because all of this is for the future of mankind. Humankind, Okanogi got fed up and kicked me. I don't weigh much, so I fell backwards and became soaked in the muddy water. Okanogi walked over and looked down at me. Fortunately, there's still something the clients in Tokyo are expecting from you. Hey! One of the mountain dogs handed a gun to Okanogi. Okanogi checked the cylinder and then threw it over to me. What? What is this? Major, why don't you use that to shoot yourself in the head? Major, why don't you use that to shoot yourself in the head? What? I looked at the gun. I'm used to seeing guns, working at the Erie Institute as I do. I was never frightened by guns before, but for the first time I feel scared just by looking at one. You know, this happens all the time, Major. Please take responsibility as the leader of the defeated force and shoot yourself. What are you saying? Nobody has ever told me to die before. Nobody has ever told me to kill myself. If you die, the clients can just blame you for everything. Actually, Tokyo is already preparing to do that. Don't be ridiculous. Why should I have to do that? Oh, I'm starting to sob. My body is shaking all over. Well, you don't have to do it yourself. If you don't want to, maybe that's too much to ask of you right now. Okanogi pulled out his gun and pointed at me. The other members, having realized everything will work out fine if I die, just looked at me coldly. I'm going to say that I tried to talk you into surrendering, but you refused. We shot each other and I had to kill you. That's the scenario. I gave you the gun so that you could kill yourself rather than being killed by me. It's to show my appreciation for the time we've known each other. I don't want it to end like that, no. Who came up with this plan in the first place? I don't want this. It was your dearest friend, Nomura-san from Tokyo. Eh? They had a plan for damage control in case the final operation failed. Nomura-san's code name is Cuckoo. And yours is Baby Bird, isn't it? Do you know where cuckoos lay their eggs? What? Cuckoos lay their eggs in other birds' nests. Once they hatch, they kill the young of their original owner by pushing them out of the nest, and then they take it over. The baby birds on the ground are left helpless, and they usually end up eaten by mountain dogs. I used the money I got from Uncle Koizumi to pay the mountain dogs, thinking I had gained a reliable ally. I always thought that, although Okanogi was barbaric, he was very reliable, but my nest had been taken over. Major, you never had any allies. Major, you never had any allies to begin with. All you had to do was exactly what the clients in Tokyo wanted you to. But now it's over. Now, you need to exit the stage. Take it. It's your precious scrapbook. Hold that in your left hand, and pick up the gun in your right. The scrapbook was finally returned to me, covered in mud. I held it with both hands and cried. Ugh. What a joke the entire life of Mio Takano was. Right now is when I should just go back inside that chain link fence. My shaking hands held the ice-cold gun. There's only one bullet in there. Sometimes a bullet can ricochet on the scalp, so that's why people usually put the muzzle in their mouths. Come on, hold the gun, point it like this, and die. In the hills of the mountain, a single gunshot echoed. With that gunshot, members of the Bloodhounds rushed in. Okanogi and the other men raised their hands in surrender. Major Takano was with us, but she refused to surrender. She tried shooting at us, so I had to fire a shot to intimidate her. Retriever 7 to leader. We arrested First Lieutenant Okanogi and 3 other members of the Mountain Dogs. Major Takano is on the run. Her footprints are heading southwest, but the brush is too thick and we can't go any further. Requesting backup. Major Takano is armed. I repeat, Major Takano is armed. Retriever leader to all units. Major Takano is on the run. She's armed, so be cautious. Patrol the area and force her out. I'm running through the mountain, covered in dirt, and still holding the muddy scrapbook. I keep falling because of the mud, and branches and tree roots continue to torment me. I lost one of my shoes, so I decided to get rid of the other shoe too. This isn't the first time I've had to run like this. This isn't the first time I've ran barefoot. This isn't the first time I felt such pain on the soles of my feet. This isn't the first time I've cried like this. I repeat, Major Takano, disarm yourself and surrender. You can't escape. The Mountain Dogs have surrendered. You have no more allies. The helicopter above my head is calling out my name. I crawled into a hollow tree. I held my knees and hid. The last time I ran barefoot like this was a very long time ago. My feet are bloody and swollen, and I can no longer walk. I can only cry as I bite the corner of my scrapbook. Sadness and humiliation fight for dominance in my heart. When I feel sad, I cry, and when I feel humiliated, I scratch myself to calm my anger. And I still have the gun in my right hand, the one with the single bullet in it. I have to kill myself. My death is the only thing that can bring it all to an end. Killing myself is the only way to go back to that day. But when I look at the scrapbook in my left hand, I'm assaulted by sadness and fear. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Heck. Just die. Atone for your actions with your death. I recalled the look in Okanogi's eyes. I know I have committed sins. There are so many sins. Too many of them. There are more sins than I can possibly atone for. But do I have to die for them? No. I don't want to die. Ooh. Wah. I cried again, and then noticed someone standing nearby. It's the girl. The girl whom I met when I came to Hinamizawa. Hinamizawa, when the Ear Institute was first opened. I met this girl at the shrine when I declared war on God. This girl is the god of this place. That god looked at me and sneered rather than sympathizing. Are you still trying to take God's place? Do you still deny that you're human? Long time no see. I lost. I lost this game. This is what I get for challenging God, I guess. Human child. Are you still after the position of a god? Are you still willing to endure for the sake of opposing the divine? No way. Taking a god's place really is impossible. Human child, listen well. I will show you the way to godhood. Eh? With the gun in your right hand, end your life. The position of a god requires no flesh. Don't expect people to recognize your existence. Being a god is lonesome. You foolish child wanted to become one. Is that still what you desire? Are you telling me to shoot myself with this? That's it. Something that simple would make me a god? That's so simple. Then what is this? What have I been doing all this time? You shouldered the sins of many others. You purified all their sins by sacrificing yourself. Your courage will be praised, and you'll be allowed to take a seat among the gods. What's that? You're telling me to be their scapegoat? To take responsibility for all of them and die? But fuck you! I refuse. I absolutely refuse. Why don't you want that? To attain peace in the human world, there must always be one sacrifice for one sin. Isn't that the truth of the human world? Isn't that the method for purifying sin? Didn't you want to sacrifice one girl for the future you desired? What are you talking about? I don't understand anything you're saying. You don't, because you are a human. You don't even know how stupid you were to even want to become a god. I do. I don't want to die for other people to become a god. No way. I don't want to become a god at all. I am fine with being human. I just wanted someone to forgive me for being that way. That's all. But why is this happening? Then how will you purify this stain? How will you pay the price? Why? Why does someone have to take the blame? They're all pushing responsibility on other people. They maneuver this way and that, just so they don't have to dirty their own hands. Is that what just happens in the human world? No, that's not. Because when my parents and my grandpa were alive, things like that didn't happen. We were all happy. Nobody blamed anyone else. How did I fall out of that world? Why am I wandering around the mountains alone in the rain? Why? Why me? Ooh. This is the punishment for my sins, isn't it? I knew it. I had noticed it. I made a huge mistake, but I didn't want to admit it, and when it was too late I regretted it for the first time. So this is the punishment for my sins. The human world will want you to purify your sins. They'll be purified when you sacrifice yourself. That's the way of the human world. However, I'm not a human. I am a being above man, a being which fills in the missing gaps in harmony, a being that forgives human sins. Man cannot forgive the sins of man. I am the one who forgives the sins of man. I forgive you. Demanding a sacrifice be paid for sins isn't the way of the human world. It's the way of demons. So this is not the world of man. This is a world of demons, created by man, and the demons infesting them. Humans cannot end that way of their world. So I became a god to grant that end. It was over 1,000 years of pain. I wanted to come down from this place. I desired a world where God doesn't need to make peace. And finally, after 1,000 years, I have found that fragment. Human child. I will forgive your sins in my name. Kneel and repent. Ask for forgiveness, then you shall receive it. God will forgive you. God will forgive your human sins. The God in human form walked up to me and reached out. As I knelt and looked down, She touched my head. Hanyu! Hanyu! Where are you? Hanyu-chan, answer if you can hear us. I heard voices in the distance. And then I saw a girl standing in front of me. She's one of Mion's club members, my most hated enemies. Shit. She's found me. The rain had already ceased. I decided to come out of the hollow tree. After the rain, it had grown so humid. I was starting to sweat all over. I'm soaked in sweat, mud, and rain. I feel filthy. I've been bitten by mosquitoes, and my body is itching all over. Ah, this is why I hate the mountains. Don't say a word. I pointed the gun at her. The girl just looked at me calmly as if she didn't see it. At the very least, she did follow my order. What should I do? Should I take her as my hostage? I only have one bullet. How long can I keep running for? Hanyu! Where are you? Damn, she really is lost. Ah, there she is. Hanyu-san! Hanyu, where have you... Ah. I really am unlucky to the end. Or maybe you could call this a kind of luck. At the end of it all, I managed to get some vengeance. Do you know what this is? It's a gun. Don't you dare move. Hee hee hee. The tables have turned now. Damn it. Why now? Mion-chan, if you don't want anyone else to get shot, step forward. No, don't do it, Mi-chan. Mion stepped forward, quietly. She certainly has a lot of courage, no wonder she's their leader. Thanks to you, I've been ruined. Some scary men on the mountain want me dead. They won't forgive me, but I can't just go out like that. At the very least, I want some revenge. Hee hee hee. Huh? I know you only have one bullet in that gun. That's right. But that one bullet could kill Mion-chan, couldn't it? Takano! Are you going to shoot her? Don't move. If you do, I really might just fire this gun. Hee hee. Don't any of you move. Just stay behind me. How courageous. Is this some spirit of self-sacrifice? Rather be shot yourself than letting your friends be shot. Well, it's not that easy to kill someone with just one shot. Of course, it depends on where you hit, though. I'm surprised. How can you be so brave? You want me to shoot you for all the others? Just so you know, if you think that, I'll hesitate to shoot, because they'll rush over here once they hear it. You're sadly mistaken, hee hee. Go ahead, shoot me. But after you do, my friends will rip you to pieces. Hee hee. Let them try. They say you dig 2 holes when you curse another. Going down along with the great commander who made Okanogi surrender wouldn't be so bad. Go ahead and shoot me. But make sure that it's me you hit. If you shoot anyone else, I'll put you through hell. Oh my, I'm shaking. Hee hee hee. No, don't, Mi-chan. Takano-san is serious. She really will shoot you. Somehow we'll have to buy some time. Someone from the Bloodhounds will come by for sure. I'm sure they will, but I'll shoot before I lose my chance. Let's see, where should I hit her? I'm not good at this, so forgive me for not being able to aim that well. Hee hee hee. Me. You aren't serious, are you? Don't anyone move. I'm the leader of this club. If I can protect you all, I'll be satisfied with that. If I don't make it, set up a shrine inside of my locker and pray for me there. You'll be taking over my position, Kei-chan. Help him out, okay? Mion is prepared to die. I'm already cornered. I won't accept any words of negotiation. Mion understands that she doesn't want anyone else to be killed. That was why she chose to be a shield for her friends. That was an easy decision to make for her, because none of her friends would end up hurt. If she ends up getting injured, that would be a stroke of luck, as far as she's concerned. Even if she doesn't make it, She thinks that's far better than seeing any of her friends die. That's why Takano will shoot. Even though she understands Mion's noble intentions painfully well, it's too visceral for her to accept, so she'll shoot. I will pull the trigger. With all the absurdities of the human world riding on that bullet, I will shoot her. You all play games often, right? Have you ever played Old Maid? No. We play Old Man, though. Old Geezer. Heh, they use the same rules. The human world is just like the game of Old Maid, everyone trying to foist the Old Maid onto someone else. It's a game that seeks to determine not a winner, but a single loser, the sacrifice. You see, I picked the Joker. But there's nobody else to pass the card to. That's why I'll shoot you as my revenge. Fitting for this irrational world of man, isn't it? I'm preparing myself to shoot. There's no hesitation left in me. I will shoot her, I'm serious. Mion closed her eyes and opened her arms to try and shield her friends as much as she could. And that was when Hanyu stepped forward and placed herself in front of Mion. Hanyu! Get back! Brave, Mion. I've witnessed your courage. That's more than enough. If the Joker can't be passed to anyone else in this human world, then it's my job to accept it. Hanyu? What are you? Rika? I had a lot of fun in this world. Thank you for letting me join the club. It was so much more fun to be in it than just to watch. So thank you. I enjoyed myself. I was so happy spending time with all of you. In that moment, Hanyu glared at me adamantly. Now shoot me, child of man. With that sin you must foist onto another. I will accept it. Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine, die. The club members must have thought I was joking. Or bluffing. They didn't think that I would actually shoot. There was a noise like something exploding. In a world where time became as sticky as syrup, we saw it happen. The silver bullet hitting an invisible wall in front of Hanyu, as though the wall was protecting her. The bullet wanted to pierce Hanyu's chest, but it couldn't reach its goal. A bead of sweat formed on Hanyu's forehead. In the anime version, Hanyu was actually expecting to get shot, and the bullet just, missed. She had stopped the bullet with an invisible force. Hanyu? I'm okay. I can do this even in human form. The silver bullet was being pushed back. Takano was startled by this otherworldly phenomenon, but then she spoke out one phrase. You. Monster. The silver bullet smashed through that invisible wall. There was no longer a wall at all. There was no wall to protect Hanyu from the bullet. The bullet approached Hanyu's chest. Somebody let out a silent scream. Nobody could stop it. Nobody could stop that bullet. In that world of frozen time, nobody could stop the bullet that was stopped just inches in front of Hanyu's chest. Hanyu's friends had seen this scene before. The moment of checkmate. No matter how much they screamed, there was no way to avoid this tragedy. They knew that from their memories. Hee hee ha ha. You will die for sure. Think about the good old times as much as you want. When you're finished doing that, the bullet will pierce your chest, drown in your own blood. Ha 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 ha. Unless I was prepared to do so, I wouldn't be here. Hanyu thought that this would take care of everything. Hanyu wasn't supposed to exist. In the first place, she would leave the stage and the rest of the cast would stay unarmed. The rest of the cast would stay unharmed. This is how it's supposed to be. But in that moment, something happened to surprise even Hanyu. In the world of frozen time in which nobody could move, Rika reached out and put her hand on the bullet that was stopped in midair. How could she move? Even Hanyu couldn't move. Why? Could a mere human like Rika grab the bullet? Don't be so surprised. You've already learned about that. You've learned about how to make a miracle happen. A lot of amazing things happened today, but none of them were worthy of being called a miracle. If we all believed in each other, it was supposed to happen. Therefore, I will perform a real miracle in this very last moment. I am the reincarnation of Uyoshiro-sama after all, so let me make a miracle happen at the very end. Rika rubbed the frozen bullet gently, very gently, and then held it and embraced it lovingly, her hands at her chest, in that world where not even Hanyu could move. Now I realize that neither Takano nor Hanyu listen when other people talk. Didn't you hear what Mion said? We don't play old maid. We play old man instead. Takano laughed and said they were basically the same game, but they're totally different. Old Maid has a single joker. An unharmonized element is added. To a full harmonized set of cards, and people try to foist it onto another. But an old maid, an old man, an old geezer, one card is removed from that harmonized world, and everyone foists the unharmonized fragments on each other. It's different than having a joker because everything would be in harmony if there wasn't something missing. Players try to get rid of something in both games, but what they try to get rid of is very different. In our game, the loser is left with one last card too. I can understand how Takano thought they were the same thing, but they are different, because in our game, if the missing card was added back in, there would be no loser. Hanyu, the missing card in this world, where someone has to foist their sins onto another, has joined the game. So this game has no losers. Yet you're still trying to take one card away. What a waste of a miracle. This world doesn't need a losing card. That is the answer I finally reached after a 1,000-year journey, trying to find a miracle. The answer has always been there. It was there in the very first game of Mion's club. There was always a loser because we were playing a game of cards with one missing. If we could fill in for the missing card by believing each other and helping each other, then it would be a complete full deck of 52 cards. A complete world without a loser. A complete world where no one is left out. Nobody has to stay out of the circle. Nobody has to be cry or be burdened with sins. A world where everyone holds each other's hands and forgives each other's sins. When people live, there will be sin. What's important isn't to avoid sins, but to forgive them. A world can only become ugly and twisted when people try to stay pure. Let us accept our sins. Let us all forgive. That's the answer Rika Frude reached. A complete world. A world free from the sins of the human world, where one has to become a loser. Rika reached that as a human being. After an unbelievably long time, she finally reached it. Welcome home, Mother. The frozen time had begun to thaw. There was smoke coming from the muzzle of Takano's gun, so it was definitely fired, however nobody got hit. Keiichi looked around fearfully to make sure nobody was bleeding. They were all fine. Nobody had been shot. Ha, you missed. Serves you right. The tension lifted in Mion's body, and she began to sweat all over. How did I miss? At this distance? I don't know, how did you? How could I miss? I don't know, how did you? All the club members thought the same thing. It was a miracle that the bullet didn't hit anyone. I had to go to the bathroom. The club members had all felt the same way. They were all thinking, if it's going to hit someone, let it hit me. However, Rika Furude wished for a miracle that was far beyond that. Rika wished for a miracle that was higher than self-sacrifice. She wished for a world where the bullet wouldn't hit anyone. She wished for a world where Takano wouldn't be hurt because she shot someone. Footsteps were rushing towards them. Takano tried to run, but she tripped over a root, and the scrapbook in her hands scattered everywhere. As she tried to gather up the papers, members of the Bloodhounds surrounded her. All the Bloodhounds pointed their guns her way, and some even poked her with them. But Takano still didn't stop gathering up the papers. Some of the men stepped on the papers, and then Takano tried to pull them out from under them. She tried to pull them out, begging them in tears not to step on her precious papers. Major Takano, you are under arrest. So, it's all my fault, is it? Hee. Ooh. The club members, feeling bad for her, looked at the ground. Stand up. Put your hands behind your back. Hey, don't resist. No. I want to take my grandpa's scrapbook with me. No. Takano just wanted to pick up the pages of her scrapbook, but the Bloodhounds, thinking that she's just resisting, pulled on her hair and tried to make her stand up. Although this was her fate, it was too hard to watch her being treated that way. And then a noble voice resounded among them. Wait! Radiating with divine light, a man appeared. They all knew this man very well, but they had never seen him look so determined. I'm First Lieutenant Tomitaki from the Research Division. I'll take it from here. But sir, we've been ordered by headquarters to bring her back to Tokyo immediately. Can't you tell? Just look at her. Look at all those scars. She's been scratching herself. She must have Hinamizawa syndrome. She must have Hinamizawa syndrome. There were lots of horrible scars on her wrists, arms, and neck. Takano had scratched herself throughout the day because of all the stress. There was no way for anyone to be certain if those marks were symptoms of the syndrome. But when Tomitaki said that, it certainly sounded true. But the Major must have been given medication to prevent her from contracting the disease. There's no way she should have it. Haven't you read the report? It says that the inoculation is 100% effective. If you read the report completely, you would know that these are symptoms of the terminal stage. The Research Division thinks that her treatment should take priority. We must determine if this incident was truly her will, or she became delusional due to this syndrome, leading someone to take advantage of that situation. We have to be very, very certain, otherwise it will be impossible to resolve this matter. Was it her fault? Or was it the fault of her disease? It's impossible to determine that right now. To make sure she has the right treatment, and she is obligated to let herself be treated. Jiro-san, take her to the Erie Institute, so that she can be examined immediately. Notify Lieutenant Colonel Erie so he can prepare to treat Major Takano. However, from here on, Major will be placed under strict observation and all activities will be restricted. The particular orders should come from command through Colonel Oka, Director of Investigations. The Bloodhounds conveyed all this information over the radio. Nobody had any objections. Their job was to arrest her, after all. Any interrogations or investigations after that were the job of the investigations. So, if those were the orders from investigations, then that was that. Tomitaki walked over to the muddy figure of Takano. Jiro-san. Takano buried her face in Tomitaki's chest and cried. Only Tomitaki and Takano knew the meaning of those tears. Sorry for being late. I'm here for you. Jiro-san, You're not as bad as you think you are. You can start over. You can start your life over as Miyoko Tanashi. I can't. I've committed too many sins. I shouldn't be allowed to start over. I should be dead. Otherwise the weight of my sins, well, that's true. Your sins may not be so light, but don't worry. I'll be with you. We can atone together. Let's atone for Mio Takano's sins. And let's bring back Miyoko Tanashi together. Until then, I'll be right here with you. Can I continue to live? Can I live? Everyone tells me that if I die, things will work out. But can I still live? Are you saying I'm allowed to live? Can I be forgiven? The world may not forgive you. But so what? I'll forgive you. So let's live. Death can't atone for sins. You must live and ask the world to forgive you, and then start your life over. Then you will remember. You will remember what kind of person you used to be, and what kind of smile you used to have. After a while, Takano was taken to the Erie Institute in handcuffs. She was, however, handcuffed with her hands in front of her. She was holding the scrapbook. Tomotaki had cleaned the mud off of it. The downpour from early afternoon had passed. The cicadas began singing again, reminding everyone that this was a normal June in Hinamizawa. It was so hot despite being June, and the sky was brilliantly clear. Someone asked someone else the time. She looked at her watch. It was 3 p.m. The Watanagashi festival would be starting at 5. It was almost time. Even from there, the Furude shrine could be seen. There were red lanterns hanging all over. Once the sun went down, those lanterns would be lit. It was almost time for the Watanagashi festival. And with that, everything would end. When the higurashi cry, the game that stretched across different worlds, had ended. And what the winner obtained after their victory is that the game ended without a loser. Hanyu was prepared to leave after the game was over, but she was still there. She was allowed to be there. In other words, she wasn't the card that was taken away. The card that was taken to play the game Old Maid was no longer there. The breeze rustled Hanyu's sweaty, messed up hair. She was dumbfounded. The breeze rustled Hanyu's sweaty, messed up hair. She was dumbfounded. Rika went over and stood next to her. She didn't need to say anything. She only smiled at Hanyu. The girl had pretended to be a bystander, but decided to step onto the stage. And then she thought that was enough, and tried to step off of it. With those memories of her bright time on stage, she tried to step off, but someone grabbed her sleeve and stopped her. She was told that she could stay. Then she realized she was still on the stage, and she didn't have to leave after all. There was a spot for her on the stage, and she was no longer a bystander, and that was an unbelievable miracle. She didn't even exist in the script. Nobody needed her to be here. But the miracle had allowed her to stay. You suffered so much during your journey. This miracle isn't even enough to repay you for what you've gone through. Nipa! Ow. This is more than enough. This miracle is more than enough. Rika smiled at Hanyu one more time and passed her what was in her right hand. Hanyu felt something cold and hard. What was it? Hanyu slowly opened her hand and looked at it. It was the bullet Takano had fired. This was the proof of their miracle. It was the proof that Hanyu could exist there. It was the proof that they could be together forever and ever. It'll be dark soon. It's time for the festival. Oh, we'll have so much fun together. You can't just watch us anymore. I'm sure there will be plenty of punishments to torment the poor newcomer. I don't have to just watch the Watanagashi festival, huh? That's right, because you don't watch a festival, you enjoy it. Were they testing the speakers? It was still bright outside, but there was music playing already. The cheap, dubbed BGM, background music collection of festival music, could be heard from the Furude shrine in the distance. It sounded so exciting to her. This was what she had wanted to join in on all this time. Rika held her hand. Let's go together. Let's go to the Watanagashi festival. All of us. Together. Yeah. They had almost too much energy left. It had been a long day, and many things had happened, but they still had the energy to go to the festival. It was, after all, the special day at Watanagashi. The curse of Oyashiro-sama had been lifted, and no tragedy would ever occur again. It was the first peaceful Watanagashi. The first one without a tragedy since the dam conflict. The villagers had noticed that the phone lines were disconnected during the day, but it was fixed so quickly that they didn't pay much attention. They heard the Self-Defense Force helicopter near the mountains, but rumor had it that they came to the wrong place for their training. The elderly villagers laughed and said that the young men of the National Defense Force need to pay more attention. Some people said the Self-Defense Force even came to the Erie Clinic. The villagers didn't even get suspicious about that. They assumed that the Erie Clinic had started doing physical checkups for the SDF. There were pieces of broken glass on the roadside near the village border, as if there was an accident. Some people wondered how anyone could have had an accident when there was no obstruction in the road. The elderly people said to each other that they had always had to drive carefully, even on an unfamiliar road, but it looked like it was only a trace of a normal accident, so they didn't get suspicious. The rest was a ghost story. The villagers heard an extra firework to signal the festival taking place. It wasn't an echo. The people in charge of the fireworks were puzzled, but when Rika said Oyashiro-sama must have shot the extra firework, the villagers simply believed that was true. It was the night of the Watanagashi, the biggest festival of the year. The villagers forgot their worries and enjoyed themselves. The club members were doing great as usual. They were doing so great that they were all taken to the main tent and yelled at by the mayor. That was a normal Watanagashi night for the villagers. But there was one thing that was very different. The girls fought for an unimaginably long time in many different worlds for the sake of this night. However, nobody would ever know that. Oh, there was another big change too. Rika Furude said that she wants to go to a pool in the summer. It's unusual for her to say she wants to do something. She wants to see the stars. She wants to go on a camping trip. She wants to look at the sunflowers. She wants to make the school into a haunted house, etc. There are so many things she wants to do over the summer break. Right, Rika Furude for the first time is making plans for after June 1983, because this is the first summer break she's going to experience after 100 years of repeating the same life. She will now experience an all-new summer vacation. Who would stop her from getting excited about that? Rika Furude is looking forward to waking up before Satoko would rip the page off the calendar at the end of June. Rika Furude's infinite future has begun. There are infinite possibilities, yet she can only make one choice: to be hit by a truck. But that's why it's a great world. Let's talk for a moment about the people who fought with Rika Furude. Mion Sonozaki has vowed to study hard so she can continue her education after the summer break. According to Keiichi, even that may not be enough time for her. However, how can the legendary club leader Mion Sonozaki fail an entrance exam? She will more likely find a way to get into the school she wants to go to. Hopefully it isn't an illegal one. Anyhow, she's looking forward to enjoying her final summer break, so she has tons of plans. The club members can't get away from Mion, even during the summer. Once you're involved with her, she'll always find a way to get at you. No matter how much you want to be alone, you'll never go back to spending a boring summer by yourself. Keiichi Mabara has been asked by Mion and Chie Sensei to be their next class president. He was also asked to be the club leader too, but he declined immediately. Keiichi likes the club because Mion runs it. He continues saying that it's Mion's club until she gets mad. Got mad. Keiichi can't understand why she's so angry. Well, Keiichi wouldn't be Keiichi if he wasn't dense. So things are rather lively around him again today. His good name continues to spread even in Okonomiya. Rena Ryugu is growing more energetic every day too. Satoko, Rika, and Hanyu spend every day in fear of being abducted by her. Still, she's been acting more mature lately. She takes care of her younger classmates, and she's almost like a mother figure to the class. She's like a mother to all the club members too. After hearing that, Keiichi said that he'd be a father for the class. As usual, Rena thought about that too much and blushed. Satoko Joe is lively as ever. She used up most of her traps on the mountain during the battle with the mountain dogs, so she's setting up new ones for the next event. Rumor has it that some members of the Bloodhounds are so impressed with her trap techniques that they asked her for some lessons. There was supposed to be a training area near the Mount Fuji, and they asked her to set up her traps there. That's not a very good idea. The sea of trees really will become a forest of no return. Either way, Satoko keeps saying how she wants to fight against the Bloodhounds next. She's invincible. Also, she's become a great cook. That's because Hanyu has been teaching her. According to Hanyu, Satoko is a quick learner as compared to Rika. Satoko's dream is to master fried chicken, which is her brother's favorite, and welcome him home with it. I'm the only one who knows this, but her dream may come true very soon. As for her brother, Hojo Satoshi has yet to return home. His condition is unchanged. If there's been any change, it's in Shion Sonozaki. She goes to the clinic on her days off. Nobody knows why she goes there, but she seems to be very happy, so nobody pays much attention to it. Mion has teased Shion by saying that maybe she's planning on getting implants, but Shion just smiles. Also, for whatever reason, she's been visiting her relative's clothes shop and buying up all kinds of men's clothing. Lately, she's even started buying more than just men's clothing, but why is she so excited when she visits the clinic with a maid outfit that's not in her size? The truth is shrouded in mystery. The biggest change is probably that Shion babies Satoko nowadays. She tries to make Satoko call her Nini, or Nene, how do you pronounce it, which only annoys Satoko. Iri Kyosuke has two jobs now. On one hand, he is a respected doctor. On the other hand, he is an evangelist for maids. The Iri clinic was supposed to be closed, but the villagers pleaded with the authorities not to shut it down. While Iri isn't originally from the village, he and everyone else feel that he's one of the villagers now. He and everyone else feel that he's one of the villagers now. He's an indispensable part of village life. The conservative attitude toward Hinamizawa Hinamizawa syndrome is gone, and now it's being researched very proactively. The syndrome is being researched so passionately that hopefully in the near future all of the victims of the disease will be freed for good. Also later on, Iri will publish an advanced article about the influence of the brain on human behavior, which will surprise people. in the medical world. I won't go into the details here, but it'll talk about how one should hate the sins instead of the sinner. But it talks about how one should hate the sins instead of the sinner. The deceased Hifumi Takano and Mio Takano's names will be mentioned in that article. Jiro Tomitaki still visits Hinamizawa Hinamizawa every season. He is still known as the fighting, traveling photographer, and he continues to walk around the village looking for good picture spots. However, he isn't seen in the village as much as before. His bicycle is always parked around the back of the clinic, so maybe he spends a lot of time there. Some villagers say that maybe he's sick and being treated, but his bright smile proves they are wrong. Mio Takano hasn't been seen since that day. Nobody knows where she has gone, but obviously Tomitaki isn't worried, so she must be doing fine. She'll probably show up one day out of nowhere and start telling ghost stories to scare the kids. As for Mamoru Akasaka, what happened to him was pretty funny. His wife and daughter followed him in secret. They pretended to run into him at the festival. Rika called him Papa, so things grew complicated all of a sudden. Akasaka came to visit his secret daughter. Akasaka's wife smiled, but she choked his neck with her braided hair. Her arms were folded, but her braid moved like a tail. Squeeze. She tortured a man who destroyed a special forces unit without even using a weapon. Rika continued to tease him, making the situation even worse. However, Akasaka's family liked Hinamizawa, and they said they wanted to come back. Akasaka's daughter and Rika grew so close that they seemed like sisters. Kurado Oishi has gotten back into playing mahjong. For whatever reason, Akane Sonozaki has joined his table too, and there's rumors a riot squad almost got dispatched to the mahjong parlor one time. His colleagues say Oishi has calmed down quite a bit. That's probably because he has reached closure within himself, but his colleagues know nothing about him. He's planning to move to Hokkaido when he retires, but he wants to come back every summer. His bright second life is waiting for him. Tatsuyoshi Kasai hasn't changed much compared to the others. To some people, this was a life-changing event, but for Kasai, it was just another episode added to his tales of heroics. According to Kasai, this incident was just a little bigger than usual. If this was just a little unusual, then what in the world would be needed to impress him? Shion insists that he will tell her, but Kasai only tells her that that's a secret. Also, he regretted exposing that part of his past. Shion keeps begging him to tell her all about it, but he simply ignores her. Let me talk about myself too. I, Hanyu, am doing great in my new life as Hanyu Furude. I'm finally getting better at playing games, and now I'm taking the role of the club's dark horse, a position formerly reserved for Keiichi Mabra. I have a bad habit of believing everything I hear, so Mion and the others always tell me some strange things. Thanks to that, I am getting tougher, to put it in a good way. Shrewd, to put it in a bad one. But then I need to otherwise. I wouldn't survive in this club. I'm going to continue to learn a lot of stuff through these club activities, so I can live in this human world. Sunday, June 19th, 1983. Night falls on my longest day of the past 1,000 years. The club members are having a blast. A lot of people are here. The stall vendors are still doing business. The speakers are blaring rough yet exciting festival music. I've known all of these, but how wonderful it is to actually feel and hear them in person. I thought I knew. I thought I knew because I've been following and watching them, but that was completely different. I knew of it, but this is the first time I've actually experienced it. We had a takoyaki eating contest. There was no octopus in it, but it was still very tasty. We had a shaved ice eating contest. I would have enjoyed the shaved ice if I had eaten it more slowly. I bought a candied apple for the first time. Everyone took a bite from it. It was tasty, and it was fun. We played a shooting game. I didn't know how difficult it would be to shoot a target, but it was fun too. Also, we played a shady lottery game. It was one of those things where you pulled a string and got a prize. Nobody got a good prize. We all complained about it to the vendor. That too was just so much fun. Then it was time for the dedication dance. Of course, we go there early, so we commandeered the best seats. I snuck out and stood where I was told to. I could see better than the other club members. This was the spot where the object of worship sat. This was where I was supposed to be during the ritual dance. No, this is where I thought I had to be, but seeing the dance from that spot wasn't fun. Therefore I returned to where I was, and sat with everyone else. They saved me a spot. Everyone rubbed my head while asking me where I went. I apologized by saying, "Ow, ow." That made me very happy. I watched the performance in the crowd of people. It was the best dance I've witnessed in the past 1,000 years. I couldn't keep either my happiness or my tears from flowing out. After the dance was over, a handful of cotton was passed around to all the villagers. We let the cotton absorb all the filth and sins of the past year, and washed it down the stream. Cotton is cotton. Obviously, it's not human. We use cotton instead of a human so that nobody is sad. In other words, this is the way to purify sins without making anyone suffer. Here you are. This is for you, Hanju-chan. Do you know how to do it? Yes, I do. I go like this and drift it down the stream, right? Ow, ow. The girl who gave me the cotton took the letter I from her name during last year's Watanagashi and washed it down the stream. By doing so, she was freed from her suffering and began a new life. We drifted our sins down the stream. It's not the same as pushing our sins onto the cotton. Instead, we wash away our own sins and forgive ourselves. We forgive each other. We help each other. And that's how we create our own story. I put my cotton in the stream gently. The cotton went down the stream into the world where sins are cleansed. I let my bare feet soak in the clear stream as I watched the long, long line of cotton flowing down stream in the dark, surrounded by people sending their cotton flowing down the wondrous stream. This is a complete world, where all the fragments were put together. This is an ideal world. What else is there? What else do you need? Hanyu Furude still wants more, because we can be even happier than this. We can be even happier if we wish to be. Not a long time from now, but in the near future. Then what is it? I told you it's in the near future. We will be happy then too. See? Everyone is entitled to happiness. The difficult part is accepting that. The difficult part is fulfilling that. I too. Because from now on I'm going to live a much happier life. I'm not going to compromise with just this. We'll achieve the happiness with this. 100 years worth for me, 1,000 years worth for you. Frederica Bergenstow. A report on the coup d'etat of the Erie Institute proposal. Regarding the coup d'etat, the background. One of the responsibilities of the Institute was administration of manual. However, conspired to execute false circumstances, accepted bribes to do so. These individuals include Institute Subdirector Mio Takano, First Lieutenant. Response authorities: Institute detain immediately. Emergency response unit Institute detain. Surrender properly secured. Regarding commissioned officers, Erie Inquiry Committee confirmed that Erie has nothing to do with the incident. However, due to responsibility supervisor, I will have to pause and read this. Okay. There is no possibility I can read this at this speed. Also, I see that line is elements of the department continuing their investigation. I can't read this. Okay, so that was a letter from Nomura. Okay, that's 136. So, me and, well, whoever watches, whatever viewers I will ever have who watch this, we can pause the video at those times and read it. It's just, it went by too fast. I can't read that fast. It was just no way I could read that quickly. I was curious to read all that. But there's just no way. It was flying by way too fast. I mean, maybe if I read it in my head, and although I can read much faster if I'm not having to sound it out for all of you, even if I was just reading it in my head, I don't think I could have read it that quick. But yeah, I'll just have to watch my own video and pause it at that time, and that way I can read that stuff. Either way, this is the final Higurashi video. We finished the story. That being said, we do have several things that will make the video last probably for another couple hours. I will have some links in the description for you to click on. You know, I'm glad we had this long moment to reflect on, the long experience we had playing this very long story, since I already did Rei and Ho, which were technically released long after this chapter, but this is the definitive end of the actual main story. That being said, all this extra time we're sitting here, you could have slowed down the text when it was saying all that stuff about everyone. That way I could have read it then. It should already be obvious, but I like this song. I like this music. I like the music in general for this game, but I feel like I, in particular, like this song. Then again, I was saying something pretty similar to the horror visual novel, The Letter. Though it took me like 80 hours to finish that. I think it's just going to loop forever. Okay. Onagari no Ryo? And so the shining future finished the final battle. The Forbidden Treasure. Onigari no Ryo. The Forbidden Treasure. Jelly Donut. It's the most valuable asset in the Furude Shrine that's kept in the ritual storehouse. In ancient times, when this place was a chaotic world of both humans and demons, this precious sword defeated the demon god. However, nobody has seen it for 1,000 years. According to the legend, it is sealed in a statue dedicated to Oishiro-sama in the ritual storehouse. Because of its structure, as long as the belief in Oishiro-sama continues, it will remain a forbidden tool, forever sealed away. Also, it is only mentioned in the Forbidden Scrolls of the Furude Shrine. Therefore, only a handful of the Furude member heads family have ever even known its about existence. According to several of those Forbidden Scrolls, the sword is shaped like a willow branch. There are some ink paintings of the sword, made by a few Furude heads, but none of them match the description. That means they drew those pictures from their imagination. The legend says that there was a girl named Oka who received a divine message that commanded her to defeat the demon god. However, neither the swords of humans or demons could conquer the demon god. It would require a blade that was neither human sword nor demon sword. Only a sword that mixes human and demon qualities could defeat the demon god. It has been said repeatedly that the ancestors of Hinamizawa are half demon, half human. Oka, Furude, is said to be the first person whose blood was mixed in that way. This description is what conveys that. Heaven gave Oka a precious sword. This precious sword was shaped like a willow branch. Its tip split 3 ways, which symbolized heaven, earth, and people in unity. It also symbolized the harmony between heaven, demons, and humans. Oka headed to the swamp where the demon god hid and defeated him with the treasured sword. Each forbidden scroll describes how she defeated the demon god differently. Some say she disciplined him, some say he ran away, and some say he surrendered. What happened to the demon god afterwards is unclear too. The oldest scroll says the precious sword destroyed the demon god's horn, but the other books don't mention that. The precious sword that defeated the demon god was then enshrined and was named Onigari no Ryo. Oka sealed this precious sword in the deepest place of the shrine to hide its existence forever. Even if it was created by the slay of the demon god, the sword didn't belong in the world anymore and shouldn't exist on the face of the earth. Some said that was why it was removed from the human world, but some said Oka was the daughter of the demon god and that she wanted to banish the sword that killed her mother. The ancient cult of Oyashiro-sama suggests Oyashiro-sama was this demon god, the source of chaos, the source of all that was evil. This was the source of all friction. To prevent the demon god from returning to the human world through their worship and comfort is the root of that ancient cult. This may be a type of cult devoted to an evil god. This idea that it's worshipped not for protection, but to stave off a curse, links slightly to the modern worship of Oyashiro-sama, but seems slightly distant from the modern worship that asks for Oyashiro-sama's blessings and sees them as a god of marriage and good relationships. It fosters the arguments that humans are good by nature, saying that all discord is the work of Oyashiro-sama and there are no demons in the world of man. After that, the legend continues on to what we know today, the harmony of humans and demons. But in this era, all that scrolls and the origin of beliefs in Oyashiro-sama, the scrolls of the matriarch of the Furude family have been sealed due to being forbidden. That happened probably because the new image of Oyashiro-sama, that of a loving, affectionate god, and the ancient image of Oyashiro-sama, the source of all evil, didn't match. It became too difficult to explain the faith's doctrine. Also, if one believes the forbidden scrolls, the Furude family was descended from the one who killed her own mother. That would mean their blood was cursed. If all that is true, then today's faith is very different from the one that was started by the matriarch. One of the leaders of the Furude family from 100 years ago wrote this: "The legendary precious sword is a symbol of both the Furude family and the sins of the human world. It was an era where people pushed the source of their evil on others and could only purify their sins by killing one another. The matriarch took the root of all evil herself and let her child murder her. That was how this place was freed from chaos. The matriarch usually means Oka Furude, but sometimes it means her mother." The notion that the matriarch was the demon god was a taboo among the Furude family. However, obviously some leaders interpreted it that way. When the Furude family, when the world of man commits the foolish act of seeking to blame others and tries to return the world to demons, that is when the faith disappear and the statue's head will shatter. That's when the Onigiri will reappear to us. The second coming will once again revive the memory of the Furude family's forgotten sins. Is the demon god a fictional legend, or someone who actually existed? By the way, I strongly suggest Brave Fence Musashi and Mega Man Legends, 2 best games ever made for the PS1. In some rare cases, babies were born with horns, and they were called children of the demon god. Descendants of the Furude family who will read this. The myths passed down by forbidden scrolls are numerous, and their content vastly differs, but don't get caught up in the smoke. No matter how different all these scrolls are, there is one thing they all want to convey. Search the heart of Oka Furude, the one who sealed the Onigari no Ryo forever. That is the fate that all Furude leaders must understand. Detective. Staff room. Hello, this is Ryo Kishi 07, or 07. Thank you for playing Matsuribayashi. No, thank you very much for playing Higurashi, When They Cry Until the End. Matsuribayashi is, in a way, the solution episode for the situation with Takano and the kids starting from halfway through Minagoroshi. How can they defeat Takano's conspiracy? How can they reach their ideal ending? I wrote this episode as a duel between you and the reader and me, the writer. So if you think you created a better resolution world than my Matsuribayashi, that means you've defeated Ryo Kishi 07 in this duel. By the way, just so you guys know, there are many, many additional animes of this, and stories of this, and manga versions of this, where they actually make entirely different variations of the story. There are variations where Hanyu is like alien ghosts that are possessing people. There's versions where there's like space aliens. There's versions where you're dealing with other deities. There's a version where Satoko turns evil and starts time traveling, repeatedly murdering Brika. And of course, there's a alter variation to every one of the chapters in this series. For example, in Kankushi, Keiji became paranoid about Rena and Mion. In the analog to that, while there is a anime that is faithful to that, there is also one that takes in new directions, where he wasn't being paranoid and he was absolutely right. There's also a version where Shion isn't the one. Like, originally in Chapter 2, they made it seem like it was Mion, but it was actually Shion. And in Chapter 5, they revealed the hidden details and that it was actually Shion, but there's actually a altered version of that in one of the animes that is literally Mion, and the story happens very differently. So there are many different variations of that. So, and while I do feel that this is a definitive and satisfying conclusion, I would not be against an entirely original anime for Higurashi that is a story idea that I've never even thought of, that doesn't exist in any other anime, visual novel, spin-off, not even as a fan fiction or even a manga. But obviously I'm asking for far too much of that. I'm also looking forward to the ending of Reincarnated as a Slime, which should be the ending of the final installment of the final installment of the light novel for Reincarnated as a Slime should come out either sometime during the winter of 2025 or sometime in the first half of 2026. Either way, the story of Reincarnated as a Slime, the story of Rimuru Tempest, will come to its final conclusion. Now, as for the story of Overlord, Ainzul Gon Momonga Satoshi. By the way, I forget the exact full names of both Rimuru and the character who becomes Ainzul Gon, but I do know that they share one of their last names is the other one's first name. That being said, Overlord also has additional light novels. Like, technically the canon is going to be 18 novels. And technically, volume 17 was supposed to come out in early June. But as far as I know, it was yet to actually be released. Going on, July, August, September? 3+ months later? So, that being said, not counting the additional 4 or 5 light novels that the author wrote that go into additional things, which he may even do additional things beyond that. But the main canon of the story, the main meat of the story, is technically on volume 16. Volume 17 was supposed to come out several months ago. That being said, the story is supposed to come to its definitive end in volume 18. Now, volume 18 should come out sometime in 2027 or 2028. But, well, we can expect maybe a little bit of delays here and there. But the main point is, by the year 2030, those stories will be finished. It'll be interesting to see how they turn out. I, Ryukishi, have provided 2 resolutions. One is how to fight against Takano. First is a hint from the higurashi chapter. You find out about Takano's conspiracy, which lies in Emergency Manual 34. Next, you'll hear hints from Tanagashi Miyakashi chapters. It has been 48 hours after Rika's death, and yet the village is peaceful. If you put those two things together, obviously the basis of the emergency manual which Hifumi Takano wrote, that everything will develop terminal symptoms within 48 hours, isn't true. When you put these two together, you can realize that if Rika's body was discovered 48 hours after her death, then it's possible to prevent the final operation. In the Matsuribayashi chapter, I wrote an attacking side and a defending side like a novel. If I were to simply write them about the resolution, all I had to do was wait for Oishi to announce that Rika died at least 40 hours ago, and Takano's conspiracy would fall apart once the news reached Tokyo. This was rather an easy resolution, like a puzzle, so I'm sure many of you got this right. The other resolution was the ideal ending for this world. To answer this, I have to explain this worldview of the story first. There are hints all over, but the crucial ones are in the Tatari Goroshi and Mina Goroshi chapters. Satoko's uncle comes home, and Satoko's life becomes unmiserable. How can she be rescued from this situation? If this story was an exercise in murder, then the Tatari Goroshi chapter is the correct answer. Keiichi kills Teppei and hides his body well. There's a happy ending. But I didn't end the episode that way. Instead, I denied it with a bad ending. The resolution the worldview of Higurashi When They Cry advocates is a non-violent one, with everyone united together. That is established in question chapters such as Onakakushi, Watanagashi, and Tatari Goroshi. In those worlds, when someone becomes suspicious about everything and worries about it alone, things get worse, and that leads to tragedy. Miyakashi chapter is the sublimation of that situation. On the other hand, when one talks to their friends, it revealed that causes of the tragedy are quite silly. That is indicated in Sumihoro Boshi and Minagoroshi episodes. In other words, can you see that in the worlds of Higurashi, anything can be overcome when people talk to each other and help one another. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in reality. Helping each other creates friction, and oftentimes working alone is a lot simpler. However, we always hope that we can connect with other people and can understand each other, so that we can face any difficulty. In that sense, this world is a fantasy. That's right. In the worlds of Higurashi, there is one magical rule. That is, to talk to others and accept help from them. Then you can defeat anything. With that, it is possible to make a miracle happen. If that could cast an absolute rule, it would be a sort of magical systematic miracle. Just like what Hanyu and her friends said in the story. That is the worldview of Higurashi When They Cry. If you follow that rule and think about an ideal ending, I bet the first thing you'll think about is an ending where all the club members unite and defeat Takano. Actually, there are scenes in the Matsuribayashi chapter that affirm that sort of ending. However, at the same time, Takano is described as a very lonely person. By doing so, I raise a question about the resolution. Everyone else unites, defeats Takano, and makes her into a sacrifice. This is a happy ending for everyone except Takano. It is a very popular style of story for the protagonist to unite together and sacrifice the antagonist. Aliens come to the Earth to invade us, so the world unites to defeat the aliens. Hooray for the humans. We must all get along. This is a very popular storyline all over the world. There are plenty of stories that use aliens, devils, or monsters as clear bad guys and make them into sacrifices. Two parties fighting each other, with others becoming allies once the third party shows up. Storylines like these are indeed exciting, but by adding a sacrifice, different parties unite and become allies. To create this situation, there has to be always the third party that sacrifice as well. I'm sure many of those who created such stories must have already noticed that. We always add a third enemy that can't possibly unite with us. To make up with each other, we try to find a common enemy. Am I the only one who feels that describes our world today? In reality, the world belongs only to humans. There are no aliens or devils or monsters. So for us to find an enemy, we'll have to fight each other forever. To make up with each other, we need a new enemy, so we just end up fighting someone else. In this chapter, Higurashi, I declared that to be the demon of the world of man. With these explanations of the worldview here in mind, do you wonder if the resolution of defeating Takano is in fact an ideal resolution to the Matsuribayashi chapter? That's right. It's basically the same foolishness found in Tatari Goroshi. According to that logic, the Minagoroshi chapter isn't the best resolution for the problems that surround Satoko either. Do you understand that? How can they make up with Takano? You wouldn't suggest to make Tokyo into a new enemy and let the club members join with Takano, would you? If I continue to talk about this issue, I will probably end up mentioning something religious, so let me stop here. What kind of ending would be the best outcome following the worldview of Higurashi when they cry? Perhaps it is something better than the Matsuribayashi chapter. You can consider this a graduating question for Higurashi when they cry. Maybe I will leave it at my final gift for those who enjoyed this tale for 4.5 years. I'm trying really hard to remember, I was wanting to put links in the description, and as I think of more and more things I want to put links, I'm gradually losing. I had to make old man noises as I had to stretch to grab a piece of paper and write. Okay, so trying to write some stuff down. Okay. Pretty sure I'm still forgetting something, but at least this makes it a little bit easier for me. Thank you for reading this extremely complicated story. In the end, what was all this? What was this all for? If I were to put the answer to that question in one word, it would be entertainment. It's not important if you were able to answer the riddles. After all, if you enjoyed yourself, you won. Ryukishi 07 will continue to challenge you. Higurashi When They Cry ends here, but I hope to get to see you again in a different world. What kind of work do I want to create next? Maybe it's fitting to choose my next work from an infinite number of possibilities while listening to the chorus of the Higurashi. I want to express my gratitude to all the people who have supported me until today. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Ryukishi 07. How to chat with Ryukishi. By the way, now we're going to see if anything changes if we leave that little last miracle. Oh, I think you actually I think I'm actually forced to do it no matter what. So I don't think I actually have a choice in the matter. Huh. Okay, yeah, we don't have a choice. So that was actually required to progress. Okay, so I guess the main thing we have to establish is that there is an extra scene. Because but I don't think I'll be able to do that, so I'll probably just find it on YouTube and put it in the description. I feel like I missed something. Hold on. Apologize for this. But I feel like something was left out. Because I could have sworn I saw a fourth thing. Sorry for the guy making you guys like watch all this. Okay, about 2 hours in. But I feel like there was a fourth thing that I missed. Yep. This probably is only available because I already beat the game. She needs to be rescued too. Flags from kids' meals. That being said, exit. I'm going to play outside." A girl's cheerful voice echoed in the house. It was a tenement house, so walls were thin. So of course her yell carried through to the neighbors, but since it was a child's voice, nobody complained. "Miyoko, we're thinking about going to the mall." Her father's voice didn't reach the girl, because all she was thinking about was making a new secret base with her friends in the field. Her father knew the girl had been looking forward to going to the mall, and that if they went without her, she would be upset. He also knew that the girl liked collecting flags for the kids' meals at the restaurant there. And one more would bring her collection of 20 flags. The girl was making a wish on those flags. She believed if she collected 20 of them, she could become happy. Oh well. He supposed he'd bring a flag home as a souvenir. It wouldn't be a big deal if he asked a waitress to bring one for him. On that day, due to an accident, the trains were running behind schedule. To make up the time lost, the drivers were braking a little too late and accelerating a bit too soon. It was rather unsafe. The Tanashi family didn't own a car. They always used a train to go to the mall. As the girl skipped her way to her friend's house, an unfamiliar woman stopped her. Obviously, she wasn't from around there. The ties between the neighbors were very tight around there. The girl knew everyone's face, so if there was a stranger, it was either a new mailman or someone who's lost. The woman said to the girl, "Do you want to live? Or do you want to die?" Any person would think the woman was crazy asking something like that, but the girl was too innocent to think that way. She answered immediately, "I want to live." "Okay, then go. Your friend isn't home, but go on." "She isn't home?" The girl couldn't figure out why this woman would know that. As the woman left, the girl stopped her. She was curious, although it was a little scary as to what response she'd get if she answered differently. "If I want to die, then what?" "You'll get another flag from the kids' meal." "Eh? Hey, that's not fair. They're going without me. That's not fair." The girl turned and tried to run back home. "Are you sure? You won't regret it?" The mysterious woman tried to confirm this. "Why would I regret it?" "I won't tell you. I'm mean." The girl thought this was some kind of riddle, so she pondered on it for a while, but she couldn't figure it out. Then she clapped her hands as if she came to a conclusion. "That's okay then." "Why is it okay?" Because my parents will be with me." The woman stepped aside. The girl bowed to her and ran home. She saw her parents locking the door to leave. The girl jumped on them and nagged them that she wanted to go too. The girl was going to the mall with her family. The family headed to the train station, waited for a train to arrive, and got on it. The driver was feeling the pressure to make up for the delay, and the passengers could tell that from the way he was driving. The girl noticed the unusual swaying of the train. She stood on her knees and looked out the window. Her mother told her to sit down because it was dangerous. The girl stuck her tongue out. Then the train reached a very big and very sharp curve. The train tilted in that direction. All the people were shoved to the side. They were all squished together and grumbled about it. Then the train continued to The girl and her parents came home under the sky, full of stars with shopping bags in their hands. They unlocked the door, turned the lights on, and then the girl put her bags by the front door and ran into her room. She opened her desk drawer, took something out of her pocket, and put it in. She closed the door once, but opened it again, and then spread her treasure on the tatami floor. They were the flags of many different countries that came with the kids' meal. The Japanese flag, the American flag, the English flag. Which country was this for? The one with 3 colors. She lined them up as she counted. She counted out loud, then she danced around happily, for she now had 20 of them. It took her so long to collect that many. It was hard work for this girl, who was so proud of herself for reaching her goal. She worked so hard that there must be something good waiting for her. She made a wish to become happy if she collected 20 of them. Therefore, something wonderful must be waiting to happen. The girl waited excitedly, but soon realized it wasn't a magic lamp, so no genie would be jumping out. Maybe it wouldn't happen that night. Maybe it'd be tomorrow. The girl decided to wait patiently. She accomplished something as great as collecting 20 flags. Surely some wonderful happiness awaited. Surely some wonderful miracle awaited. Or perhaps it might be like a charm, keeping sad misfortunes at bay. The girl put her 20 flags back in the drawer. As she heard her mother tell her to brush her teeth and go to bed, she ran to the bathroom. This is fine, isn't it? It's okay to get a miracle in advance. What should I do next? There are plenty of fragments to play with. What? You want to try too? Hehe, it's fun. It makes you feel like God. A world with Satoshi or a world where the Sonozaki sisters didn't switch. I wonder what a world with Satoko's parents and Rika's parents alive and well would be like. Oh, how about this? Akasaka gets enticed to the enemy's side by Takano. Aha, that sounds interesting. Let's see. The ideas I had was, what if right after Minagoroshi, things, we went to a new world. But Rika remembered everything, and she went to Erie, but she remembered absolutely every detail of everything. And she knew about all the stuff. But it would still work out relatively the same way. Also, the idea about Takano just, having a conscience. And, before the Watanagashi, getting Eri and Tomataki together, hey guys, something important I gotta tell you. And just, confessing to everything she had been planning. Personally, I'm curious about a world where Takano is madly in love with Tomataki. And we find to match Keiichi with different girls, too. I love drama very, very much. Hehe. Let's see, what should I do next? I have so many fragments. Hey, do you want some? What kind of world are you going to make? The world of Higurashi when they cry will move on, even without us. There are many dreams, possibilities, and miracles in that world. There are innumerable fragments, all interweaved with one another. I've shown you a small number of those fragments, but it's up to you to play with the rest of them. The world of Higurashi when they cry is now in your hands. Are you asking everyone to write fanfictions? It is a big, wide world of fragments, and they are yours to manipulate. Your dreams, your possibilities, and your miracles are yours to discover. Oh, you really are. I thank you for joining me on this 4 and a year half-year tale about this world. I thank all of this who supported me during this. I thank characters brought forth. I thank my family. I thank my coworkers. And I thank my friends. All while the same person creates. I thank work itself, the fact that I left behind a legacy. Took all these people who sent me emails. I may have leave one piece. I have the joy of making a product of your own. I have nothing to show for the 4.5 spent in college. I simply spent my days without achieving anything. I left no proof that I was even alive during that time. If you feel that regret for this drove me to make this work, then I think we can meet again as friends. This is why I leave you with this message. I look forward to the day we meet again, my friend. Ryuki Shio7. Now this just makes me want to go on Google and look up people's fan fictions of Higurashi. Heck, there's a really good fan fiction of Evangelion called Shinji and Warhammer 40k. There's also a bunch of lemons also written about Evangelion. If you know what a lemon is, you know. And if you don't, I'm debating whether or not I should tell you. The possibilities of forever went beyond. Yay! And with that, I believe we have every achievement. Yes, we do. Okay, I'll tell you guys. A lemon is a hentai, but as a novel. Basically, it's porn about anime or video games. A lemon is it's an entirely... Now, I mean, granted, people can always have pictures or add them as fan art of fan art, but it's predominantly a lemon. Most of the time is a fan fiction of an already existing, but there are people that make their own completely original lemons. But a lemon is a hentai. It's basically it's a light novel, but with very mature themes focused on sex. Now, there is also a thing called limes, which are more so very gory horror stories. I would not recommend you read those. At least without, knowing what you're getting into. So, lemons and limes are very different. But yeah. I'm just saying, I remember back when I was I think probably 13 or 14 years old, reading quite a bit of fan fiction of Evangelion. Which would have been the year 2000, I think? 2001? But yeah, Shinji and Warhammer 40k, not all of it was out back then, I think. I think that was available back then. Also, I remember reading Stefan Gagne's immense works of the Slayers, which is great. But there was also quite a few lemons of Evangelion, which I feel were fairly wholesome stories. Let's see. Now, granted, there were some that were a little fetishy, like one where Shinji was, basically Asuka was more like a pet to him, but like I said, that's to be expected in certain hentais. But one of them was very wholesome. Several of them were, most of them were wholesome. They either focused predominantly on Shinji and Asuka, Shinji and Rei, or Shinji and I think it's the class representative. It's a girl, and normally in the series she winds up being in love with Toji. But, basically he starts starts dating her. So, just saying, I like to read. And I like to read a lot of various things. Heck, I also suggest a lot of movies. Like Schindler's List. Or The 1997 movie The Odyssey, or is it 1995? Stars Armand Asante. It's like 3 hours long. One of the best movies you'll ever watch. I'll put that on the link too. That being said, there we go. Letting you guys see the original artwork. At fast epileptic speed. Now, one thing I would like to remind you is that the 10th game, Higurashi Plus, actually has after you beat that game, has a music section where you can actually listen to all of the OSTs at your leisure. Which is nice, because I really do like the music in this game. I'm enjoying looking at the art, but it also kind of hurts my eyes. You know, it may have just been for a moment. You know, I've already decided on what I'm going to title this video. Earlier, given the... let's be clear. Given the title that I'm going to have for this video, it would certainly make more sense for me to have a picture of Major Takano. Especially holding a gun. Whether it be the picture I screenshotted earlier, which I just overrode by doing another screenshot just now because I only have access to the most recent screenshot. Though there's a lot of times I'll be playing a game and I'll just do a screenshot, then copy that somewhere else, and then I'm free to make a new screenshot. But I haven't done that. Like I said, my original plan was to use pictures of, which I will probably post in the community post or something, of Mio Takano, Major Takano. One, there's a scene of her holding there's a picture of her I saw where she's holding a gun and she's scratching at her neck. from the Hinamizawa syndrome. Or I was thinking about using the Grok AI on Twitter, because you're able to use that a little bit here and there without paying any money at all for it, since I don't pay any money to X or Twitter. But the main point being is you can ask Grok to edit a picture. I was thinking about taking a picture that I screenshotted earlier of Major Takano and asking Grok to edit it in the style of Silent Hill or even Resident Evil. Or even in the style of other visual novels. But instead I've decided I'm going to use a picture of a nurse. Which again, all of you should know because you clicked on the video and this will be the first picture you see of this game. But I was originally planning. So obviously the title that I'm planning for this I'm going to keep the same, which will make more sense with the original picture I was thinking about using. But well, I would say in general I like the anime style better. I will also say that I find a lot more feminine charm to this picture. I still probably should have actually did that. Oh well, I can find other pictures of Mio Takano. To use. I'll probably still use like the idea for the AI thing and share it at some point, but what can I say? I find this attractive. But yeah, like I said, I was going to ask Grok to edit a picture of the Major Takano in like the style of Silent Hill, which I probably should have copied that picture into the other thing that I just copied the one screenshot of the nurse Takano before taking the new screenshot. But what can I say? I wasn't thinking very clearly. I was looking at tits. Also, her thighs and the thigh highs were nice too. And overall, the entirety of her outfit looked really nice. Welcome to Let's Play Higurashi, the story where if the writer of this story ever watches this, they're going to be uncomfortable as I recount the story of how Nurse Takano gave me a boner. Now everyone has to listen to me talk about erections. We're just having epilepsy via text. And I talk about my erection. Does everyone not regret clicking on this video? I'm reminded of the Seto Kamiki Jirai and Airi Jirai. Technically the grandmother and great-grandmother of Tenchi Muyo, Masaki. Though I'm actually enjoying this. I don't know if anyone else is. But it does feel a little cathartic just to rewatch this again. And I'm not really like having to sit there and read. I'm just like watching everything fly by, particularly with the... And I'm just like thinking about the scenes that are happening during each of the moments. Again, I would like to say I really like the soundtrack to this game. And I do like that the Higurashi Plus game, which is technically Chapter 10, actually has a music option that lets me just pick any song I want and just listen to it. Well, we're finally back to where we were at the very start of this video today. Where you at, Hanyu? Well, to all of you who watched this, or even if this is only the video you've ever watched of mine, thank you. I'm going to actually try to read it, but I will be reading it in my mind. So that's the only way I'll actually be able to read what's coming up. I just know that I physically cannot read it out loud fast enough, but I can read this in my mind fairly simply. Okay, still leadership. She is infected. Okay, I would like to actually be able to read this out loud to all of you guys, but... Okay, so I'll still have to like go back and pause it properly because even if I try to read my mind, I want to like stop and just think about what I'm reading instead of just reading it blindly. But main thing we got from this is this: Eri no longer has any sort of military authority, but he's basically not in a leadership position at the clinic anymore. But he's still a doctor. He's still there as part of the village. He's still there treating the villagers as a normal doctor. And he's still allowed to do full research on Hinamizawa syndrome, on Hinamizawa syndrome. Which means it's getting all the research it needs, particularly to help people like Satoshi, who's in a coma, and Sadako, who needs regular injections in order to not go insane. That being said, in her things, it did mention that things should be relatively lenient on Okinogi and the others because they surrendered, and that Takano was tested and was found to be infected, like terminal stage. So it's basically definitive that, at least according to what it said, that she was suffering the same Hinamizawa syndrome as, well, most of our staff. I mean, most of our main staff of characters was going through in all the other chapters we read where, they went insane and killed everyone. However, she is basically, one, all authority has been taken from her, and she basically is, even if she's ever determined to be cured, she's basically always going to be under, restriction and supervision. One, because, she did still try to do certain things. And two, because she would require further, therapy and doctors to be watching over her. Plus, here's the thing. Satoko still has to have that medicine all the time. So I would assume that even if there's been a full recovery for Tanashi, Miyoko Tanashi, I don't know how you say it. She's still going to need those injections multiple times a day in order to not have a relapse. But that's where we'll end it. Thank you guys for spending the day with me. Hope all of you have all the hugs and head pats you could ever want. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.